just a little disclaimer, I'm not a Nebraska fan, but I definitely have a lot to say about this Nebraska team. I have watched a lot of their games, and especially against teams that are in the top 25, and my goodness, they do not know how to hold a lead to save their life. If I'm a Nebraska fan, my TV would be broken every single week. My wife would have divorce papers on the table because I'd have to pay for a TV and wouldn't be able to provide for my children, and it would just be really bad. But Nebraska, they were up 21-6. 21-6 at home against Iowa. Now, Iowa beat Penn State. I think Penn State would have beat them with Clifford, and I think even with Traquan Roberson, Penn State still should have won that game. But Iowa, they're top 25 as they should be, but they're not an amazing football team. They're good. They're just not amazing. So you're at home. You have completely new energy with Logan Smothers, and you're up 21-6. Now, before I begin, Scott Frost, he had a contract extension for a year. Now, there's a valid argument to extend him for a year just because, I mean, there's either one of two things happening. Either he is taking a team that is not at the competition level of Iowa and teams of that nature and having them play up to competition, except he just can't finish the job, or his team is playing up to competition all by themselves and he doesn't know how to coach in the second half and he's holding the team back. I think it's a little bit of both. If I had to lead towards one answer, it would definitely be that he is holding this team back. But it's not the worst thing in the world to extend him for 1 year and see what happens next year. But if this team doesn't have, in my opinion, if Nebraska doesn't have at least an 8-4 record next year, I would fire him. But that's just my opinion. So Nebraska, they're up 21-7, and they have a blocked punt, and then Iowa scores a touchdown. Then they fumble the ball. Iowa scores and a touchdown. And then they go 3 and out. Iowa gets the football, and they have a huge run with Goodwin, about a 56-yard run, and then they score a touchdown. And then finally, what sums up their season basically for the Nebraska Cornhuskers, Smothers gets the ball, and he throws it to the Iowa Hawkeye. Absolutely nobody was near. Nobody was 10 yards within those 3 Hawkeyes that were near the ball, and he threw it there. I don't know if he was expecting a receiver to run that way, and he didn't, but that basically sums up this season right here for the Cornhuskers. If I'm a Nebraska fan, I'm absolutely livid. This has to be the best 3-9 team I've seen on paper, and this team honestly could easily be a 9-3 caliber team if they just knew how to finish a game. I don't know if it's because of the coaching. I don't know if it's because of the culture. I don't know if it's because of the players. What I do know is that if this continues into next year, Scott Frost needs to be fired. Because I don't necessarily, I mean, I would not have extended his contract, but I understand why they did. I think there's a somewhat valid argument that maybe he was having this team play up to competition this entire year, except then they just can't get the job done. But at some point, they should have I understand, right? If you can't get the job done against Ohio State and you're the Nebraska Cornhuskers, okay, I get it. But every single time, it doesn't matter who they play, they should have at least 6 wins. At least, and that's at the bare minimum. Except they just don't have it because they don't know how to finish a football game. They've been leading most of these games, and they've come back from really far deficits like they did against Illinois in their very first game of the season, and they lost that game by 7. All 9 of their losses are by 1 possession, and that's just gut-wrenching. I mean, they have to be the best 3-9 team I've ever seen in my life. So if Scott Frost can't take this team to at least an 8-4 record next year, I definitely would expect for him to be gone. I think he's holding this team back. However, like I said, I somewhat understand why you'd give him the extension because there is a valid argument to be made that maybe he's having the team play up to competition, except then the talent level of them compared to the team comes to play and becomes a factor in the second half, and that's why they lose. But man, Scott Frost, he has to win at least some of these games this year. I mean, there's no excuse that this team is 3-9. I get it. They're not going to win all 9 one-possession games, especially when some of them are against teams like Ohio State. But, that's just really bad. I mean, he hasn't won one of those games. He has 20 games since 2018 that they've lost by 1 possession. That's not good. It's becoming a systemic issue in that program. And I really feel like they could be an above-average college football team and, in the above-average part of the food chain in the Big Ten at this point if Scott Frost wasn't their head coach and if they just knew how to execute better. Because it's like one bad thing happens in their sideline, all the energy is completely drained, and it's really just getting tiring watching this football team just for a casual fan. Because how do you let that happen? Like, they should have more wins. I don't care who you're playing. The fact that they haven't even won one of those one possession games, it's very saddening. It's very alarming, and it's just not good. I mean, they should have more wins. They should be able to finish it every now and then, but they should have had this game. There are many games that they should have had, and they should have much more wins than they do on the schedule. But that's my reaction, guys. That last game today for Nebraska really summarized their season as a whole. I mean, my goodness, I'm sorry, Nebraska fans. I genuinely feel bad for you. I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. But man, Nebraska fans, I'm here. I'm here for you, man. I'm here for you because it must be rough.